App State's Veterans Day ceremony is among the most important events we hold each year. Our tradition of commemorating this day ensures we honor those who have served and recognize their valor and their sacrifices, especially those who are affiliated with Appalachian State University. While this day has been set aside nationally to recognize veterans and their families, please know that at Appalachian State University, you have our respect and our thanks every day.
Veterans, make this day about the impact of your time in service. Not just the things you've done while in uniform, but the things you learned along the way and that you carry with you today. Why you served, who you served with, and why it's an imperative to continue to be a selfless servant. Make sure you share your story because it is worth sharing. Whether you wore the uniform or not, we can all use today to be inspired to be servants to our faith, our family, our communities, and our country. Thank you again for the opportunity.